Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Fair use sack. Oh, snap. If I can get the phone. Okay. Fair use sack. Fair use sack.
Police Officer Christopher Scherer making his first court appearance. He is expected to be arraigned tomorrow.
Scherer will be charged with second-degree murder for killing Patrick Lyoya in April. If convicted on that charge, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. Our team coverage continues tonight.
We start with News 8's Whitney Burney, who was outside GRPD headquarters after talking with protesters. Whitney?
Well, dozens of activists took to the streets here in Grand Rapids, starting here at Grand Rapids Police Department and eventually making their way to City Hall. Their message tonight, this isn't over.
I'm stopping you. Do you have a license?
After 9 weeks,
I made the decision to charge Christopher Scherer with one count of second-degree murder.
Charges coming down for GRPD officer Christopher Scherer for shooting and killing 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya. A welcome surprise for activists who have been calling for accountability since April 4th.
I was not expecting this. I'm saying a lot of y'all was not expecting this either.
A few dozen people stood in front of GRPD headquarters chanting this evening and paying tribute to a life lost. A moment of silence bringing up raw emotion for some. Their focus now, a conviction.
Just because he was charged with second-degree murder, that doesn't mean that that's going to be upheld in court. It still has to go through a whole due process, and he's still innocent until proven guilty. And so we need to make sure that we're pressing hard on the judges and making sure that we show up in those courtrooms.
The police have got to go. The police have got to go.
Activists also calling for an overhaul of the policing system, saying this could happen again.
So why it took us 65 days? Do you know how many days all these people been standing out here? It's been protesters that have been arrested for something they never did.
Jimmy Barwan, who says Lyoya was like a brother to him, happy to see charges, but he believes Officer Scherer should spend the rest of his life in jail.
We lost a father. I lost a role model. That's somebody I looked up to.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
Something he and other activists plan to fight for until the end.
We're not gonna stop. We're still gonna be out here until we get justice by any means, I repeat. By any means, so this is just a start.
Now, those activists have, of course, left downtown Grand Rapids this evening, but they say they'll be watching the trial closely. Live here in Grand Rapids, Whitney Burney, News 8.
Yeah, well, a forceful message tonight, Whitney, but a peaceful one, too. Thank you for that live update. The chief of police announcing today that he's taking steps to have Officer Scherer fired.
The prosecutor also explained why he decided to issue a murder charge. News 8's Kyle Mitchell continues our team coverage. Kyle.
Sue and Brian, Prosecutor Becker thanked the family for their calls for peace and patience as the legal process moved forward. He says Officer Scherer turned himself in.
Second-degree murder is a felony offense. It is punishable by up to life in prison with the possibility of parole. I wouldn't charge if I didn't think I could prove it.
Becker says he believes the charge is appropriate.
The elements of second-degree murder are relatively simple. First, there was a death done by the defendant. And then when the killing occurred, the defendant had one of these three states of mind: an intent to kill, an intent to do great bodily harm, or the intent to do an act that the natural tendency of that act would be to cause death or great bodily harm. And finally, that the death was not justified or excused.
The prosecutor responding to questions about why it took 2 months to issue charges, saying he did not receive the investigation until just after Memorial Day.
But I never got the full report until about 8 days ago, so I don't think this is outside the bounds of what we normally do.
I respect the decision of County Prosecutor Becker.
Grand Rapids Police Chief Eric Winstrom now moving to have Officer Scherer fired.
Based on the information that I have available to me at this time, I intend to recommend the city manager immediately suspend Officer Scherer without pay, pending termination.
The chief says it has been a tough 2 months for the department and the officers who know Scherer.
This is going to be a difficult time for the police department. We'll get through it.
News 8 spoke with a national expert on use of force who says he was not surprised by the second-degree murder charge. He says the condition of the taser, which was deployed twice during the struggle between Scherer and Leoya, could be key if this case goes to trial.
That certainly could be something that convinces jurors that he was in imminent fear of his life, or he wasn't.
Defense attorneys for Officer Chris Scherer issued a statement tonight reading, quote, Mr. Leoya gained full control of a police officer's weapon while resisting arrest, placing Officer Scherer in fear of great bodily harm or death. We've also reached out to the police union for comment on these charges against Officer Scherer and haven't heard back. Brian?
Kyle, thank you. Patrick Leoya's family relieved by today's news.
His father watched the announcement with his lawyer in Detroit. After the charges were announced, he talked to us about how he was feeling.
My reaction today, I was not expecting anything good or special just to happen.
Patrick Leoya's father was not expecting much from today's announcement, but then he received a call from the prosecutor he'd been waiting for.
When he told me that the police would be charged, I was not expecting that. I was not hoping that to happen. And when he gave me that, he told me that, I felt like a little bit strength and relief a little bit.
Peter Leoya speaking through a translator, saying he hasn't really felt the weight of it yet.
I haven't felt it yet because I was not expecting it to be like 65 days ever since when my son passed away and he was killed. So when I was coming here, my heart was still broken because I was not expecting good news at all.
His attorney, Ben Crump, now focusing in on the trial.
Well, we pray after looking at, the jury in Minneapolis, Minnesota, giving a fair trial to George Floyd, after seeing the jury in South Georgia give a fair trial to the family of Ahmaud Arbery, we pray that Grand Rapids can give a fair trial in holding the police officer who unjustly killed Patrick Leoya responsible.
Patrick's father still cautiously optimistic, hoping for a conviction.
I'm not going to say that I have a lot of hope for what is coming ahead, because first it's God, that's where my faith is, and the lawyer Ben Crump, Anthony Van Johnson, who have been helping me and taking this case, that I'm really convicted. I have the assurance that we can get the justice maybe in the future, but for now, no.
Our coverage involving this case will continue tomorrow. We will be in court for Christopher Scherer's first court appearance. Make sure to follow us for updates both on air and at Wood.
So yeah, basically it took that long to get everything together. The officer who did shoot and kill Patrick Leoya during a traffic stop in Grand Rapids 9 weeks ago, he's charged with that, and it took this long when it happened 2 months ago, and it's like, this is their thing. This is their thing. When it comes to, black men, black women, the justice system seems to work a little slower. and when the case is being tried, it's usually tried in a way where it's not to our advantage. So basically, I believe they're saying he resisted arrest, and then the cop just tried to pull the taser out. I think he grabbed the taser so he wouldn't get tased, and that's when the cop went and killed him. So sure, they're basically arguing self-defense. It's always self-defense with the damn police when it comes to black people. But I've seen white people, or I like to call the pink folk, done did stuff where they done jumped on a vehicle, they done slapped the cop, they done spit on a cop, they done did everything heinous to America, done got into a fight with the cop, and they still make it away with their life. Why is that? Because another dead Negro is a win for America. And that's just how it goes. Okay, so basically, um, Lyoya is a refugee from the Democratic Republic of the Congo who came to the U.S. several years ago, died April 4th. The video released by GRPD, which is Grand Rapids Police Department, shows that Scherer pulled Lyoya over. Lyoya ran away, and there was a struggle that included Lyoya grabbing Scher's taser. Scher, who was on top of Lyoya trying to hold him down, shot Lyoya in the back of the head. So defense lawyers told the Associated Press the shooting was not murder but an unfortunate tragedy. That looked like murder to me. If you got the guy, handled, and you got him under control, why would you need to shoot him in the back of the head? The shooting was not murder but an unfortunate tragedy, Scher's attorneys told the Associated Press. Mr. Lyoya gained full control of a police officer's weapon while resisting arrest, placing Officer Scherer in fear of great bodily harm or death. But he had no weapon on him. Like, he had the taser, he was resisting, and he got him under control. Why would you need to shoot him in back of the head? This They're saying while resisting arrest, placing Officer Scherer in fear of a great bodily harm or death. Defense lawyers Matt Borgula and Mark Dodge said in a written statement to the Associated Press, the shooting was caught on home surveillance camera and recorded by a bystander on a cell phone. Part of the scuffle between Scherer and Lyoya was recorded by Scherer's body camera, but that camera turned off midway through the altercation. Why did his camera turn off during the midway through the altercation? Excuse me. Johnson questioned why he was skeptical that the 3 seconds of pressure necessary to turn the camera off could have been unintentional. This was not an accidental turnoff, Johnson said. Kent County Commissioner Robert S. Womack, who has been working with the Lyoya family, questioned why the shooting was captured by a Ring camera and by a bystander's cell phone, but not by police video equipment. Johnson also said the family would be formally asking the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate whether Lyoya's civil rights were violated. Exactly. So, well, if they have a jury, they're going to try to have majority white. White people are the white people. They believe everything isn't wrong or something. And a lot of people in the community really they're really not feeling this. And the people in the community feel like this is just going to go unjust, which I believe it is. I believe Scher's going to get off like all the damn cops do. The Ahmaud Arbery thing was just coincidence. They had to prosecute those guys after that BS decision they gave Rittenhouse. So, it is what it is. But let me know in the comment section how you feel. To me, this is sad. I feel like, you know, you turned your body cam off and then you engaged him. You had him settled on the ground. You had him restrained. and then you just shot him in back of the head, which I don't understand, why you would do, you know. But hey, that's how the police force is. But a lot of people in Grand Rapids, like the news report said, they want a whole overhaul of the police department, which they need. But also what they need is they need to let more people from the community be police and not have this good old boy club system, because people can go up there and try to ask to be a police officer. Like, I agree with Carcino for life. Shout out to Carcino, man, doing this thing on all his channels. Dude got like 100 channels, like Ticket, and doing his thing. Shout out to Ticket TV as well. But my thing is this: is that we need more police officers in there that's from the community. But people in the community, you got to be willing to take the test. You got to be willing to make sure that you're in shape to do it. Me, I regret not being a police officer. I wish I could have been a police officer in St. Petersburg. I feel like I would have been able to help more. I feel like I would have been able to do more. And that's the truth. People, you could call me anything out the woodworks, but to me, these police officers and everything, they have a tough job. They do have a tough job, but to me, them killing innocent black men like for nothing. Now, him restraining, I don't agree with that. He resisted arrest, but we don't know what was done. We don't know what could have been happening. We don't know if this cop has prior history of harassing this man, or this man has been harassed by the police. We don't know. So hopefully it's a fair system. Hopefully, sure, it's a fair trial, and that they're able to get their point across and not just be shunned. But it's gonna be hard. Like, it's gonna be hard. Like him grabbing the taser, they could use that as self-defense and stuff. But I done seen pink folk on video doing worse stuff to the cops, and they're not shot. They're not killed. I done seen women or dudes spit on a cop that's of pink complexion, and they make it home. But hey, we don't get that. We don't get that because we're only 1/3. We're only 3/5 of a human, or 1/3 of a human, whatever that is. We're only 1/3 of fifth of a human. That's why I don't call myself African American. I call myself black. But let me know in the comment section what you guys feel about this. Thank you guys, man, for listening, and we out. Deezy.